This is Chris Hansen.
This is TJ Hushmanzada.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson.
And I need to let y'all know something. You're listening to.
And you're listening to.
It just makes
This just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
Woo! Way better than Chris Hansen.
Yeah, seriously. I want to get involved in the rigging of Fat Bear Week.
In relationship to Fallout Boy.
Oh, Fallout Boy. People are.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
we got it.
Cut that.
Like, someone should hire you to be a protester. 4 bills dead weight. They're not getting you off that
They
court.
look at me and I'm like, I fucking dare you.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
dare you.
I mean,
A
like,
tractor, there's nothing that can.
They gotta be forklift certified.
Oh, I can't be a Cowboys fan because of this moral high ground that you are on. Bite me. Eat me.
Bite me. Eat me. I mean, gosh.
I'm so sorry to everyone that we just did that to.
Everything I just said before that, I just made that shit up.
Small enough and dumb enough.
Small enough, dumb enough. That's what we want.
That is It Just Makes Sense.
Whatever happened to 1D, dude?
What about
Whatever happened to 1D
remember
is...
the other people's names other than I know Harry and
Oh,
Zane.
I know all of them.
Okay.
Louis.
That's not a real one.
It is.
Louis Tomlinson or
Why do you
something
keep
like that.
Making up Italians.
Zane. Harry.
I know
Who's
Zane.
the fourth one? That's the
Oh, right, that guy. The guy who's supposed to be the baritone, but he doesn't have any baritone in his voice.
well,
So do you do this so you
Liam
can
and
hear
Niall.
yourselves? Is
Yeah. Can you hear yourself at all? Barely, probably.
that a little? I don't really
Yeah.
like it.
You can keep it up. You don't
you
have
don't
to
have
have
to
it
wear
on.
them.
I don't
You
want,
won't.
I don't want it.
Don't do it.
Don't
I
do
don't
it.
like it.
The man has
Don't
demanded
do it.
things. Miguel, you look so much different. So you fit so well into that chair now.
Yeah, I ate a little too much during the holidays.
And now you have exercised those demons. The reality is that Miguel is no longer with us. Not in the sense that like we broke up with him.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah.
He's legitimately, and not from like the eating too much thing. I mean, like on your bingo card, the odds.
The good ones always.
Should I cut that one?
The good ones always
Cut
go
that
young
out.
is the
No, I don't know
problem.
if you can now, Pete,
can't
because I'm
do
going
that.
to tell him
This
either
is
way.
live,
Yeah,
pal.
be like Peter said that you died because you are
'Cause it-
4 bills.
No, Miguel's enjoying his life thoroughly on the island of Maui.
Oh, I was going to continue the bit because we have a pure-blooded Italian with us tonight.
That
Mr.
is true.
I mean, it's in the name, Mr. Alex Grimaldi. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome. He's the guy who sold me my house.
Ash myself.
So
That's true.
yes.
I did. I saw an article that CJ McCollum just listed his house.
He did.
I didn't get a call.
That's
Well, that's
very
rude.
rude.
What's
Very rude.
I think we have, like, I like wine.
Yeah,
I've played
he has a
basketball
cellar.
in Portland longer than he has.
That's
So
very
the-
true.
Point of view.
Very, like, I mean, you are deeply rooted in the basketball and real estate scene.
That's true.
4-bedroom. He bought a Street of Dreams house, though, which I didn't realize until today.
a
Isn't
little-
that kind of cheesy that,
little
like,
basic.
an NBA player buys a Street of Dreams
I don't
house?
really understand what is the Street of Dreams? What is bad? What is that? Why is that bad?
It's a dick waving contest between
That's true.
between builders
Mhm.
and then subsequently real estate agents, and then Standard TV and Appliance, those different places where they just
So
go
this
off
is-
to show their
they're like
newest and
they're
best
model homes.
Essentially.
fancy model homes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like
the
there's
best of their work.
there's not like a ton. Like, I mean, if you see like CJ's, actually, do I still have it up? Here's the house.
That's quite the sunset that come with the house.
Right. So he's got a little wine cellar. What's interesting about this house, though, it's 5,500 square feet. This is really riveting podcast talk for the YouTube people will get it because we'll show it.
we're
here.
just looking at houses.
Yeah, we're just looking at houses. Is that it's 5,500 square feet, 4 bedrooms.
And only 4.5 baths.
Yeah.
Typically, that's not like the bedroom to square footage ratio.
No.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, like, I was surprised. That seems like a 7 bedroom, like 5,000 square feet. You got to have, like, at least 5.
There's probably like 8 bathrooms, though.
Is there?
I don't know.
I thought it said 4.5.
4.5.
And that's the thing that surprised me the most.
4 and
Is
4.5.
usually the biggest rich people thing is like, oh, there's always a bathroom. I know these clothes are
my
sitting
goodness.
a little different.
Can they see us?
I think I might need to put it out.
Do we need to crack the garage?
Yeah, we might need to. You want to go crack the
Yeah.
car? I'll go to
It's
it.
sepia.
I got it.
It's
Okay.
sepia. You want me to put it out?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It is just settled a little bit. We have like quite the, like velvet lounge.
It really
type of
captures the
approach
whole
there.
like you're chatting it up with the lads at the
That's
sports
good.
bar.
There you go. I just realized that that I've booby trapped that with a
bike.
with a bike on top of there. Oh, that's good. Miguel has been taken care of. He has been sent into exile into Maui after what he said to those Italians this past week.
It's
The
true.
Italians?
Huh? Yeah. I mean, after.
I won't stand for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Alex arranged
I mean,
at least the transport to Hawaii.
the visit to the mattress
Yeah,
shop
so-
or what? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so Miguel is on sabbatical. We do come off of a week where we were talking about Club Paisano and Bocce, and Braxton and Miguel went very hard.
I think we were more ageist, to be honest. And
You
I
were
would,
anti-Italian. You were anti.
yeah. I
Age,
looking
yeah.
back
I
on that.
reviewed the footage. Your accent was spot on.
It
Yeah?
was the Italians. I can't even do it.
I pride myself in being a decent accent guy. A decent accent.
Yeah, I mean, he's claimed to be better, but we've heard.
But I've kind of humbled myself to realize I'm a decent accent guy at best, so I appreciate the compliment. But no, looking back at that clip, especially seeing the wonderful response from Mr. Mario Pompey.
Mario Pompey.
It's not. It's not a real name though.
Thank you.
That's
That's not a real name, but it is. It is. I can confirm that I've at least seen this
I
guy's
was watching
Facebook
that
page.
and it was like it's a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Well, the club's
Yeah.
called Paisano. His name's Mario Pompey.
You'll
Yeah.
meet him. You
No,
don't
it's-
realize
it's-
how deep you're
it's
going
a
to get
little
yourself
too-
into on this.
Good old
on the
Luigi
nose.
Napoli. Just- yeah.
And
Goes by cannoli.
And even the emails, he's like, just bring beer and wine and your own set of balls.
Yeah.
Because we got balls to play with, huh?
Yeah, he says, so first thing that came to mind was I need to get these gerontophobias, which I think means people who are afraid of old people, to come to the club, smoke some cigars, have an adult beverage. And this was an email that I got from Mario. So he had thanked us for the shout out and everything, and now he has gone in on the gerontophobes or whatever the hell he called you. We have gotten an invite. It says probably piss your pants when you see us old Italians. Best compliment of the night was calling us shit talkers. However, we're not talking shit online. He then has this little meme where he has like this stick figure of someone who's a shit talker online with big balls, and then you have a person with little tiny balls as a stick figure in person.
Yeah.
What's really
Very
funny
evocative.
about this is that he has laid down the gauntlet. We accept formally your invitation. Mario Pompey and Club Paisano will be there this spring. And Alex will be in tow to kind of translate for us.
Sure.
Possibly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Grimaldi.
And I will apologize. I did watch the promo and I was like, dang, I do come across as ageist or gentra, whatever.
Gentrophobe, sure.
So I apologize.
Very
I'm
gentra.
sure you're gonna beat my ass and have plenty of entertaining stories to tell while you do it.
Yes. What's really funny about this is that they are old Italians who have no idea how to use the internet. At least some of them.
Perfect.
Mario does. But what's funny is I'm pretty sure that Mario blind copied all of Club Paisano onto this email, because what happened throughout the week was I was getting emails. Reply all emails. It was
I
like,
love it.
bravo, Mario. Just like complimenting him.
You showed that, Mario.
Yeah.
Show him his boss.
Yeah, so it's like, it was really funny because then it just like totally backed up the whole thing. It was like, well,
goodness.
yeah, I mean, like you are. you have proven your use of technology part of the point.
So you guys gonna do like intense bocce practice to acquit yourselves well?
Ooh, I don't know.
No, I don't think we've ever done anything intensely.
we've never been accused of that.
But no, I think this is. I think we were kind of talking about just how we want to like kind of get involved in more of the niche sports communities, because I feel like I don't think the Portland Trailblazers or those kinds of outfits are going to be letting the It Just Makes Sense podcast come out to their events anytime soon, unfortunately. So let's start small. Let's start with the Club Paisano Bocce Club. Let's start with, some of these smaller leagues that we can get in. We can get involved, maybe get more attention on them.
Yeah, and we need
have a little fun.
We need a fixer.
Yeah,
so you can.
Here's my question: is where does table tennis rank on the nicheness? Because I don't know
big table.
If you
tennis
know this
guy.
about me, but I recently lost to a 14-year-old at a table tennis, like a USATT certified tournament.
That damn good
Really?
14-year-old though.
She's playing well.
She.
Yeah, she's playing really well.
Wow, I honestly.
I'm not trying to sound sexist, but that kind of threw me off a little bit.
It doesn't surprise me because table tennis is one of like the most equalizing sports there is.
Oh, if you get a kid that walks in and starts warming up, you're like, I'm in for a bad day.
Yeah. Because they've got so much more endurance, stamina, than you could quickness than you could ever imagine.
That brain is spry. It
Yes.
does not have years of,
self-doubt.
trauma.
No
Yeah.
self-doubt. And the power dynamic is so skewed in that if you beat a child, you've beaten a child.
Right.
Yes.
Yes,
You
that's
know?
also very true. You can't.
But if
hang
You're
your
a
hat
piece
on
of
that.
shit
child.
either way.
Yeah,
You
there's
can't hang your hat on
there's
that.
no actual winning. It's just not a good experience.
That's impressive. So I'm assuming you've been playing table tennis your whole life. The fact that you obviously refer to this consistently as table tennis is saying something.
I don't want to come across as too elitist there because
Right.
ultimately ping pong is too fewer syllables.
Yeah.
And I do like syllabic conservation.
Yes. Who doesn't?
It's a great question. But
Question I've always asked.
I felt like in the context of losing to a 14-year-old, which was how I cracked this open, I should at
wanna
least
lose.
establish the bona fides of
Yes.
calling it by the formal name.
And I get you. I would much rather lose to a 14-year-old in table tennis rather than ping pong.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Are you much of a video gamer?
Yes.
Big video gamer. What is your main?
Mostly a single-player games, kind of like, hey, nobody talk to me sort of gamer. Like,
Sure.
I'm replaying The Witcher 3 right now because the next gen update.
So you're
came
not
out.
playing. It's not a multiplayer. Not streaming online.
like
you're not having
R-
to.
RPG open world type games.
Right.
much.
So you'll never get yourself in the situation that this kid
Wait,
had.
before you segue,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Are you pumped about Hogwarts Legacy?
You know, it actually looks really good.
It looks
Yeah,
really
it looks
good.
Take it off
good.
the pot.
It actually
Oh my
looks
God.
really
really
good.
fucking good.
I was like, there's no way, like, it's and Harry Potter. Like, what stones are left to turn over?
They found
and
them.
then they started throwing the videos out. I'm like,
It looks
pretty.
I leave
I
you-
pre-ordered it.
Oh my! Should I leave you two
I
alone?
did. I paid the $80 to get the hippogriff mount. I get it 3 days early. I'm very excited.
That's awesome.
3
Anyways.
days early. Wow.
Anyways, that was
It'll
our
come early,
That was
huh?
our nerd moment.
Yeah. So, multiplayer. This did not happen to you. It happened to a man. I don't know exactly where he was. He was playing Rainbow Siege 6 when he accidentally butt dialed an emergency call. He butt dialed 911, and they overheard him say that he killed 2 people, which cops swarmed his house.
So he self-swatted.
He
essentially?
self-swatted
I was
himself.
playing the game, and I butt dialed the phone. Okay. That was my bad. What? No. It's only me home.
All right,
Might be.
It's fine.
All right. Everyone inside, okay? Nobody's inside. It's only me.
Yeah, I don't think you play Rainbow Six Siege with witnesses.
No.
You want to know the funny thing? I downloaded Rainbow Six Siege today.
You
Did you really?
Well, keep your phone away. Don't swat yourself.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
To
I was
where
like, oh, this
you
looks fun.
to where you say that you murdered 2 people and have cops swarm your house with guns drawn.
I gotta say, touch screen butt dialing, I don't get it. Like, I get it when it was like
No, I totally
actual
get it.
buttons. I don't think I've ever done it.
No. So, as a person who wears athletic shorts
Sure.
very often,
Yeah.
it's
I don't know why that sounded so sexual.
with my hand motions.
Continue.
Is that like? I mean, the whole thing is like attracted to heat, right? So what ends up happening is you're on your lock screen, and your phone rubs up against your thigh.
Sure.
Yes, and I have locked myself out. I've never butt dialed an emergency call, but what I have done is I've locked myself out of my phone for like over an hour because like it keeps on putting in the wrong code.
So your quadriceps are just hammering zeros.
Yeah,
on
just
the thing?
protruding and just. So I'd go for a walk with my dog, and then I would come back, and I'd be locked out of my phone for 2 hours.
I've never. This is conceptually foreign to me.
I have had that happen where I'm wearing sweats or like basketball shorts or whatever.
Sure.
And it will
locks you out.
touch
Yeah.
the buttons. But to get to the point, because like there's a few
Of
swipes.
my massive thighs. But go on.
There's
Yeah.
like a few swipes and things that you have to do to get, at least from an iPhone.
Yes.
To get to that page where you're calling 911.
Logistically, it does seem like was that the last call that you made, and all of a sudden it's like one button away. Like why was that so easy?
This guy again?
Yeah, stop swatting yourself, man.
Also,
The first time there were more cars.
Yeah.
and did you guys know that you can just text 911?
Can you really?
I had to parallel park behind a sheriff car on Saturday night, which was terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it was a tight parallel park. Anyways, there's a bumper sticker that says "Call 911 if you can, text if you can't."
Interesting.
I didn't know
chat
that
function there.
So remember, folks,
you using emojis? Be like,
just like crying emoji,
Just like a cryptic, like
like got in an accident, think someone is dead, and then you just like put like the
skull and
skulls. You're just being kind of cute about it, or like you just
I don't think that's cute at all.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's just like kids these days. I don't know.
Zoomer 911 texts.
Yeah, exactly.
Christ.
It's only a matter of time.
And how about, the fact that this guy could just walk out of his house and just be like, "Hey, sorry, that was a butt dial.
Oh, my bad.
My
Yeah.
bad."
Real
Just
convincing
leisurely walking
story
out to the
there.
cops,
Can't
no
believe
problems.
He led with my bad. that was his first option. He's like, this'll fix it.
How many
And then-
times?
and
He
they're
did
like-
seem unusually cool for the situation.
Yes.
For a
That's
nerd.
white privilege for
For
you.
that.
He's like, "Hey guys, my bad."
I wasn't going to say that, but you did
Yeah,
bring it up,
it
was
my
that
fault.
I killed 2 people, white guy walks out, and they're like, oh, yeah, come here. Just
Yeah, come on over,
They
bud.
asked
come
him,
on.
were you playing video games? Wasn't that one of the...
Is
they were
that what
just
they
like-
said?
Yeah. They took one look at him, and they're just like, nah.
Yeah,
We
we're
know
gaming,
The
we're
best
gaming.
part is when they're like, "Is everybody inside okay?" And he's like, "There's nobody else inside.
Because you murdered him.
I'm alone."
Yeah. Yeah, or because you're a loner and you don't have... No, sorry. Sorry, I'm sure you're a nice guy.
No, he's a loner.
Okay.
He's a loner. Look at the trash on his
Just
driveway.
has equally hot thighs as Peter, apparently.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
True. That's one thing you have in common.
Us nerd thighs have to stick together. Well, speaking of police involvement, I'm about to bring it down kind of deep and dark.
I don't like that.
Is that police were called... This was in Gresham. This was at a Max stop. This is like zombie apocalypse shit that happened. Was that Gresham police responded to reports of a violent attack last week at the Cleveland Avenue, Cleveland Street train station. Investigators say that a 78-year-old man's skull or like face was chewed off by a man at a Max stop. That his face was chewed down to his skull by a guy at a Max stop.
You know what I heard? You remember when this kind of went viral, like, I think maybe 5 or even more years ago? Remember when bath salts was all the rage?
I remember there's like the Florida guy who was
Yes.
just like, yeah.
I hear those are coming back.
Bath salts are coming back, huh?
And that same like drug compound or whatever is starting to become popular on the streets. And I think we're gonna see some more shit like this.
They cops arrived as it was like while it was still happening. The suspect was still on top of this person, realized it wasn't a stabbing, and that chewed off the victim's ear and part of his face.
I hate that I'm asking this question. Were they conscious?
I believe that the man was still conscious. Yeah.
How do you just
70
lay there?
years? I mean, he's 78 years old.
70.
Yeah, he couldn't.
Oh gosh.
So.
What the fuck?
Why does Portland in like the suburbs have like the weirdest stories? We had Jizz Salad here at the Clackamas, like Red Robin. That was really weird too. Now we're doing like zombie apocalypse stuff. We have some weird shit going on.
Gresham. This poor guy was from Hillsborough too, and is all the way in Gresham.
Oh, he was just trying to catch the blue line
Just
home.
trying to make it all the way.
That's right.
Had a 2-hour max ride ahead
Seriously,
of him. And
he had a
somehow
long
it got
night.
even worse.
Oh gosh.
Well, what would have been even better is if that guy was able to make his way onto the Price is Right to win a car, but instead former Blazers great Jared Jeffries somehow found his way onto the Price is Right.
Blazers great Jared Jeffries.
Yeah, you don't even remember that guy. He was on the team for a couple of years. He was there in his like journeyman age.
Is he the guy that was on Survivor?
I don't think so.
Cliff
Robinson.
Okay.
That's right. Uncle Cliffy was on there.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
So Jared Jeffries makes his way onto Price is Right, makes his way onto a showcase or whatever where he is able to win a car. And here's what
If this is a red 7 coming up, you won.
Oh, man.
Because you changed the very last number.
Man.
Let's see a red 7, please. Yes!
motherfucker wins that car. And we'll look at the car.
What a good win.
Look at this little tiny Camry.
He's not gonna fit in there.
Won't even fit in that car.
I'm sure at a point in his life he could jump over that car.
Yeah, not these days, but if you
I mean, a free car is a free car. You can
free
just
car, yeah, you
sell
just
a free
that
car.
thing. You're good, or just give it to it. I'm sure for family member.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like he didn't make the most money in the world. I'm sure that like the ability to give someone a car, whether or not they want it on The Price is Right, might even be cooler. Actually,
Yeah, and that's my thing. I think we all know, like when you guys went to carnivals as a kid, you didn't go to the carnival wanting a goldfish, but as soon as you knew the goldfish was a prize, you had to fucking win it.
You had to win that goldfish. Responsibility be damned.
And it's like, if there's a car available to be won, you're gonna
win that.
You're gonna be lit that you won it.
One time I lost a lava lamp at a white elephant thing. Like, it was stolen from me.
Right,
And
like
that's just been like...
How old were you?
That's haunted you.
I was in like 3rd grade.
Last week?
Yeah, I was talking about lava lamps this year. I think I was like, you know what, lava lamp.
Just
would
this
be
last
cool.
Christmas season, I've really been burnt up.
I've
about
always wanted a lava lamp, and I've never had one.
You just never had.
And you know,
one.
now I think I have like a real chance to buy a lava lamp. Like, I think
now that you're a
I
homeowner
think I can do
and
it.
an adult, but
Yeah.
you are married. And
Still trying to get the finances.
I still haven't pulled the trigger on the lava lamp.
Is the lava lamp a novelty? Is that something that I could just like buy very easily from like Amazon?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
they're
yeah.
readily available.
Okay, yeah, there's still a thing. You can buy them for $15. Okay,
15 bucks. Why
Not
is
a big
one
deal.
of them so I never understand the pricing for some. Like, what is the
$135 one.
like? Some things I understand pricing disparities, like whiskey, or
Sure.
or vehicles. Lava lamp having like a 10-to-1 spread or whatever. Like,
That
what's
is interesting.
going
What
on?
makes it? Is it like better, thicker, heat-tempered glass that is
Thicker.
Does
that
that
can get hotter, which makes the lava move more?
does that imply that the cheap ones are just shattering and like?
Well, I'm assuming because the process obviously
That's part of the fun of it.
You heat it up, it gets to the top, it cools, and then it comes back down, right? So if you have a glass that can only handle so much heat, that's probably going to mean less lava movement
Yeah.
because you can't shatter the glass. But if you have better tempered glass, you would have a hotter lamp, and then the lava's dancing all over
bouncing
the
around?
place.
If you were just like super mega rich, would you have like a 2-story lava lamp?
That would be so sick.
I think that would be really cool.
Just like a 12-inch, pipe that just ran
Yes.
from the top to the bottom of your house. That was a lava lamp.
I think that would be
Oh,
awesome. It doesn't even
goals.
have to fit into like
Hashtag goals
I could have,
2023.
like, Italian, like rustic aesthetic,
and
I
then
would
you
I would
have-
still
Just
put it
boom.
in there.
Yeah, you have like the entertainment 720 room or whatever, and it's just
Exactly.
like
I would have like the bougiest house, lava lamp, 2-story lava lamp in the
A
entryway.
lava lamp stripper pole.
That would be a little warm.
Exactly.
That would
toasty.
burn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you could.
It's
you
tasteful
could,
though.
You
Classy.
could pocket dial a phone with that lava lamp.
Yes.
Oh,
You would hope
Those
that like,
thighs
but
would
like,
be so warm.
It would have to be a pretty thick pole, I would think, to like
The girth
because you
of
don't
that.
want
For
that
some thick
bursting.
ladies.
Like as an Italian, I know you don't want lava all over the place.
Yeah.
There's like a Mario Pompeii.
There's a Mario
joke.
Our guy
I
Mario
almost got there,
knows
and I was
all
like,
about it.
I'm just pulling out of it. I'm just
Oh,
gonna.
he knows about that Pompeii. He knows about that. Okay, so if you were on The Price is Right, back to
Yeah.
that.
I would be starstruck by Drew Carey.
More than like Bob Barker, though.
Yeah.
Like if they were side by side.
Were
and
you a
doing the
big
same
Drew
thing.
Carey show guy?
I was. Oh,
Whose
absolutely.
line is it anyway?
Oh,
Yeah.
That too. Old
Yeah.
school. Whose
absolutely.
Line? Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
So
Colin and
good.
Ryan.
Colin
Wayne.
and Ryan.
Wayne Brady.
Yeah, Greg Proops or whatever his
Yeah.
name was.
Who
yeah.
doesn't love Wayne Brady?
The
What,
man.
and also, what happened to Colin and Ryan? Like, I've seen them,
they're still doing Whose Line.
They did the reboot with.
but like currently, I know that they have the girl who hosts it now.
Yeah.
But is it current? I thought that
They were still doing it currently, and they're living
now,
off
right
of
now?
syndication money. Oh my gosh!
they probably
That's
just
what I've
do
been
like tour. Like
Get him on the pod.
stand up.
Get him on the pod.
what's the middle ground between like a Las Vegas residency and Spirit Mountain Casino? Because like that's probably what they're doing.
Like a little
You know-
traveling.
Yeah, like
tour.
they're not like
They would
They're
be
still in
perfect for a
demand.
Spirit
You know what I
Mountain.
mean?
Yeah, they're
But,
probably doing like,
but they're doing
like theater
better.
shows.
I would
yeah,
fuck
they're doing
around.
better
I
than
would
Spirit Mountain Casino.
I would
I'd like to think.
absolutely drive 3 hours to the coast to watch that.
Yeah.
With like the OG cast or whatever.
yeah.
For
Even if it was
sure.
just Colin and Ryan and 2 other improv. I would
Yeah,
be.
I
could
don't
be
even need the full
anybody.
cast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't even need the full
even
cast.
if like,
I would, or just Wayne Brady. I loved Wayne Brady. I remember watching
Brady
that
is
show.
the best.
And like, especially obviously he's an incredible singer, but his ability to make up really good songs that were funny and made
the
sense
song stuff. Yeah.
on the spot.
Genuine lyrics.
Yes.
While also being like completely adhering to the prompt.
It's
Unbelievable.
It was
A
unbelievable.
magician.
The Drew Carey giggle, though, accentuated it very
When
good.
Drew Carey's glasses came off, you knew that was the funniest thing to happen
He
that
was
week.
busting a gut.
Yeah.
That's just the best.
Hopefully just a guide. What? So you would be starstruck by Drew Carey, but would you be able to like get through Plinko or the
Absolutely
the
not.
Mountain?
No.
Like which game would you want to play and which game would you be the best at?
I would be completely inept. I know very little about the show.
Would you? There's the putt one where you can win a car by putting from different, and you can earn your way closer by getting dollar amounts right for products.
I think I would try to go with something that has as little to do with my own personal ability as possible. Something that was left most up to chance.
So Plinko, right? I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
I think or just one of the more simple games like higher or lower.
Sure.
Like something like that. I don't know.
I don't see myself succeeding. I mean, if I lost a lava lamp at White Elephant, I'm clearly not cut out for that environment. It's not gonna.
It was a cutthroat white elephant. Okay.
Freaking, I don't know. Amanda probably just swooped it.
That's when you.
God damn it.
That's finally when you lose your cool and like that's just like the
That
final
was when
straw, and then you drop kick Drew Carey by accident. You're just like, I didn't mean to do that, but
I would cut my feet off if I drop kicked Drew Carey.
I don't know if I would be good at this game, but I would just love to hear the mountain climber yodel. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the mountain climber
The
yodel.
cliffhangers. Yeah.
I don't know what happens here, but we're gonna listen to it for the next 30 seconds until it's done.
It's cool you know the words.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, and it keeps going.
Wow.
She's bad at this. Usually, like, and there it goes. On the first time. Wow. It's usually supposed to go up incrementally by a couple of dollars. She was that bad.
Was that the goal? I don't.
No, the goal is to not have it go over the edge.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to guess a
Makes
prize within
sense.
a couple of dollars, and then either way.
But
She killed that man.
I don't know. What game show do you think you would be the best on?
Oh, I think that we've talked about this, but I don't remember exactly my answer.
like we have talked about this, too.
But we need Alex's take on this.
What
I
are
think
some
mine was-
game show? Yeah.
Mine was Wheel of Fortune. I think I could kill
Okay.
Wheel
There's
of
like
Fortune.
the Jeopardy. There's Wheel of Fortune.
I'm
there's
not
like,
smart enough
I
to do
wants to be
Jeopardy.
a
Wouldn't do- there's
millionaire.
always some. I would probably lose to another 14-year-old at Jeopardy. I don't know.
We-
Yeah,
like-
that'll happen.
There's also like the song ones, like name that lyric or finish that
Yeah,
tune.
I would be pretty good at the
Nope,
finish that tune
atrocious.
ones.
Name that tune. Yeah, those ones.
What about Deal or No Deal? That doesn't take much skill.
You just make a deal or you don't make a deal.
Yeah.
I would. If Lindsay did it, she would probably just vomit everywhere from all the stress. I think that's how that would go.
Yeah,
for her.
I think the thing with Deal or No Deal is do you have resolve? Can you stick it through? Can you take the risk?
No, I would make the deal.
Yeah, you'd take
Yeah.
the first one at like $6,000.
You don't go broke making a profit. That's the expression.
Yeah,
No, you got to write it out to the very
fair enough.
Just
Yeah,
like
right,
the
yeah.
Tom Brady 6 yards at a time down.
Yeah,
like,
there you
know,
go.
The dink and
Like
dunks.
post Randy Moss.
Yeah, nickel and dime.
Yeah.
Nickel and dime.
Absolutely.
Don't
go
what
broke
about
making
you,
a profit.
Pete? What was yours?
So. Ooh. I think I would like to go on Price. There was a time where I knew everything on the Prices Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Have you
that-
seen that documentary
No.
about the guy who he basically figured out where the Price is Right was sourcing their pricing information from?
Oh, really?
And he
just like reviewed the
and
catalog.
and he memorized it.
Wow.
And he just kept on going to Price is Right, and
Hoping that
finally
he would get on.
And finally, he got on there, and he was like within cents of, because obviously pricing changes or whatever. They made this whole documentary about him. It was very interesting. Highly recommend it.
But is that fun though? Like, I mean, like, say, like, he accomplished that, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, he gained the system, right? Versus, like,
Yeah.
like having that, like, really natural, like, competitive thing where you're.
But
it's like he found out about like
Truly
blackjack
don't know.
card counting, and he was like, "But what if, you know,
Well, what if I?
what if I
rigged
just
the prices
confused
right?
Bob Barker?"
What if
well, and the thing was,
I swindled a daytime television?
he finally
Swindled is such a good word.
got on, and he got to the final round or whatever, where you have to what's the main showcase or whatever. You have to guess the big price. And the guy that guessed before him was like only $200 off or something like that.
Which qualifies for like getting both. It's a showcase showdown, right? That's what
Yes,
it's called,
exactly. And then he went and he guessed to the dollar exactly what it was. And he said it was the first, because obviously he had gone to Prices Right multiple times to get the chance to be called down. And he said it was the first time he had ever seen them stop the show completely. They had just shut everything down and was like, everybody please hold for a moment. Because he guessed it to the dollar, and they like did this investigation and was like, how the fuck did you know this?
So then, did he actually get the prizes? And then I'm not gonna watch the documentary. At this
You
point.
have to. You have to. Because honestly, I don't remember
Cliffhanger.
how
He
it
doesn't wanna
ends,
spoil it.
and I'm not going to spoil it for you. Okay.
All right.
Nor could I if I wanted to.
Okay, so Jared Jeffrey's going to be driving around in his new tiny
Toyota Corolla.
Toyota
I don't know what that
Corolla,
was.
whatever that is, and he's going to find himself in
Scion XB.
Can you get like a free paint job on the, or is that your car
You
now?
have to take the deep maroon.
You could put flames on it on your own.
Are you guys red car guys?
No,
I don't have it.
Not.
no.
I don't-
Especially not like a
My
burgundy.
first car was a red car. It was a CRV, but I mean it was red.
Yeah.
I didn't really mind
I
it.
did have a red Ford Focus hatchback with a white racing stripe, and I hated it. That's how I got it.
Even with the racing stripe.
And it wasn't down the middle. It was down the center of the driver's side.
Oh, that's like
yes.
just feels like you're baiting like
Yeah.
bird poop or something.
Yeah, I bought it for I think like $1,800 or something like that.
The first time I was trying to buy a car, I was at a lot, and I was looking for just like a mid-size sedan or something like that, just like a mama mobile, whatnot. And they wanted to get me in this car that didn't have air conditioning. I was just going into college. I'm like, I'm not about to like have a car that didn't have air conditioning in it. He's like, oh yeah, you could just like wave at the chicks with your windows rolled down. I'm like, what if I'm on the freeway in the middle of the summer? Like, what do I do there? So then he was like, he got me off. Like, we didn't go to that car. So the next one that he showed me was a red PT Cruiser with flames on it. And he was like, what about this one? And I was like, I think I'm gonna go now. I think I'm gone now.
That was his next move.
His next move went from like normal looking sedan with no air conditioning to PT Cruiser, and my budget wasn't insignificant. I was like, you can't get me into like.
He's like you said you wanted AC.
I would have did.
So that's what I gave you, man.
So
and flames.
He didn't know what I know, which is that you are a vehicular maven when it comes to like the dollars and cents of it, like your RV.
Oh, yes,
where you turned a profit.
I did. I flipped an RV for a profit. I made about $1,700 off of that.
Pretty good
in a weekend, and I
it was a nice.
It wasn't an RV; it was a trailer, right?
Yeah,
you hooked it up.
You depreciated it, and then you sold it for a profit.
And I used it over a holiday weekend too, so I saved the money on not doing that. So, man, I could have really driven up the value on that PT Cruiser.
That's
so
right.
I could have found myself in a line at a Bojangles in which someone says, do you want to pay it forward? The person behind you just spent $45. And you go, what do you do in that situation? Because that's exactly what happened to this guy at a Bojangles, was that he was in a pay it forward line, and he decided, he was like, oh, hey, the person in front of you paid for you. So obviously you're supposed to keep it going, right? Well, the people behind him had spent $45, and he goes, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take my free meal and go. Those people can buy their own stuff. Do you guys buy into the pay it forward theory? I feel like it's very awkward.
I don't. It feels like a weird like you don't really. It's
humanity trap.
It's very coercive, where it's like, I didn't sign up for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
It's been imposed upon you.
What if they got $100 worth of Big Macs? I don't want to pay for that.
I mean, at least they give you the courtesy of knowing how much you would have to spend at that point.
But then even once you say no, you become news. It's
Yeah,
just
you
like,
know-
oh, what an asshole.
Yeah,
It's
like that
oh,
guy's. But you're like, I didn't ask for this. So like they're imposing humanity on you.
No one asked.
But the nice thing about it is they're behind you. They don't know what's been occurring.
Right.
When
so
they
you just
pull
have
up,
to live with that
that's
personal.
So it's just a personal thing. Also, it's like if you to avoid the guilt, be like, oh, well, mine was $18. Here's 20. Put it towards whatever theirs is.
Sure, I suppose you could do that.
Nice little middle ground.
That's
See
very
that?
reasonable.
Middle ground, yeah.
Is that not what you guys are looking for? I'm sorry.
No, I was
Say
just
fuck them and go.
Yeah, take your free meal and go.
This is like,
You ever heard of inflation?
this was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode brainstorm,
Yeah.
and then you got to it, and you're just like, here's a way we can just make everyone happy.
I think we
Yeah.
can solve this pretty simply.
And Larry's
Has
just like, all
Larry-
right, we're not doing that
Has
one.
Larry David
Get
been in a
out.
pay it forward line yet?
That would
If
be
he hasn't,
whatever he does is probably what I would be
I would-
inclined to do.
I would be very surprised if there isn't a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode about the pay it forward.
pay it
if
forward
it has,
line?
I've got to find
That's-
it.
I'm sure there has to be.
That's like a rich vein of like Larry adjacent content.
Yes, absolutely.
I was going to bring this up. Sometimes I don't always have the best segues, but I do fancy ourselves as a podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Nope.
And I saw this clip on TikTok last night. It was right as we were going to bed, and I laughed my ass off. And I told Lindsay, she was like, okay, let me see it. I was like, you won't get it. You won't understand what is happening in this video. Only guys will understand it. And maybe you have to watch it a couple of times. But to me, I saw this one time, and I lost my mind. The text on here says, sleepovers in middle school, as the caption.
Good night, guys. I'll see you all in the morning. Good night. Beep, beep.
And that's the thing. It's so juvenile. It's so stupid. And as guys, being at sleepovers and just doing that
saying it.
stupid shit. It's just the best. Here we
Good
go.
night, guys. I'll see you all in the morning. Good night.
And then your mom would come in.
That's the thing.
And then they'd be like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm trying to sleep." And you can't.
If you
the
guys
giggles
don't
are-
shut your mouths down here, I swear to God.
Just the giggles about
Marsh
it.
is upset.
All right, I feel seen at this point. Because
There
I
was-
did not get that at all.
I'll never forget another sneak away from the Mormon house moment. But one of my best friends, Ben Van Bergen, he was having a Matrix birthday party.
Nice.
Rated R, wasn't allowed to see it. So I lied to my mother, said it wasn't a Matrix birthday party. It was a normal birthday party. And we went over there. We had all the snacks. We watched the movies. And eventually we had this like big camp out in his living room downstairs. And that exact thing was just happening. Oh, it was a domino effect that never ended. One person would say something ridiculous, and then Snickers, and it would elevate, and we're all laughing. And at one point, his dad had come down so many times to tell us to shut up. It was probably the 7th time, God bless this man. And he just came down, and Ben was in a sleeping bag on the couch, and the rest of us were on the floor, like scattered about.
If it's your house, you get the couch.
Yeah, it's his birthday, duh. He grabs Ben just by the sleeping bag and picks him up fully and walks him away like a duffel bag up the stairs to his room, and just like I imagine him just tossing him, cocoon and all, into his own bed.
That's honestly like
situation.
Like an impressive amount of like dad reserve, considering like like he had a weaponized son that he could have assaulted the rest of the children with, that he chose to just carry him out.
Yeah, just use them as a wrecking ball at that point. Okay, so it's the whole thing. I don't think this was true in any of the sleepovers that I went to, but there's like the whole stereotype that when you go over to a friend's house and they just have nothing, and so then like the next morning you wake up and people just have like pillows on top of you as blankets.
I think that was more of a high school thing, because in high school the parents weren't so much involved, because in like grade school, middle school, like the mom, the dad, the parents weren't involved in the sleepover. They made sure everybody came prepared, or they had blankets, they had snacks.
Right.
Whereas in high school, it's just like, hey, Mom, I'm going to stay at Chase's tonight.
It was spontaneous. It wasn't planned.
And then Chase is like, oh, well, yeah, Heidi's sneaking through the window.
I think we got a blanket, and it's a towel.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm sure there's stuff out here for you. Just, crash wherever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I have one throw pillow.
Yeah, when a teenager is involved. And there's probably a whole closet of things that you could use. You're like, that's too much.
He doesn't know. Why would he know where that is?
I don't know what that is. So.
A linen closet?
He's never folded a sheet in his life.
No idea where that is.
It's always Chase or Dylan or...
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
I just need to see this one more time.
Good night, guys. I'll see you all in the morning. Good night.
It's just the greatest. It is so
It's good.
funny.
It's good costume design that the guy to do it had like 3 like
the
off-brand Livestrong bracelets. Like
it's very on brand.
Did you guys ever watch Miss World when you were? I've never.
I watched Miss Congeniality.
Sure, that applies then.
Oh,
So,
like the pageant.
yeah, exactly. There's no show
No, I haven't.
called Miss World. I didn't realize that this is how it goes, but apparently, like when they introduce themselves, this caught a lot of attention this year. I'm only gonna play like just the second half here. Of these women introducing themselves. The first half is the same thing, but we'll get through it. The last one's
Whoa. Easy now.
There you go. So,
Yikes.
Sounded like Miss Fowl from Jimmy Neutron. Sorry, that was a deep cut.
glad that you got it because I didn't get it.
Carl.
Oh gosh, I did see something that was Let me see if I can find Joel Embiid yelling.
If you if you have less than a 3-syllable country, though, I feel like you're really at a disadvantage because like your amount of like just chances to hype it up.
Yeah, and a screaming.
Yeah.
How do you say France correctly?
France! France! This is Joel Embiid mic'd up.
Those are all just guttural noises.
Was this like his first time mic'd up, and then like the NBA studio guys are like, we really blew that
What would
one.
it be like?
We should have done Evan Turner again.
The clip keeps going.
Does
but
he
I think
talk
you get
the
the
entire
idea.
game, or is he's just yelling? Sounds like if like Asylum Studios tried like a Jurassic Park parody and was just like, oh shit, we forgot to do like this dinosaur's vocalizations.
Yeah.
Like we really just need we really just need something.
Here we go. Here's a rubber chicken.
Was Asylum Studios like the Sharknado guys? Did I get that right?
I think it was Universal was Sharknado. Is that what you're wondering?
Really? That's a big studio for Sharknado.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Sharknado's a
Sharknado
big
got
movie.
Universal
That's
money.
Big movie. Big movie.
Tara Reid doesn't come cheap.
No, Tara Reid does not come
Remember
cheap.
that nip slip?
I don't feel
One of
good.
the best.
I don't feel good about that sentence, honestly.
Tara Reid does not come cheap, but she does come with a the fact that you're going to need an ID now.
With the help of a penis.
Yeah. You're going to need an ID now if you're in Louisiana. Louisiana.
Oh, my God.
Got the giggles over here.
Sorry, Mom.
It's just because the segue was so good.
Wasn't that good?
It was great.
It wasn't good. You're going to need an ID if you want to watch pornography in Louisiana now.
Woo!
You know that? Pornhub now has a splash page. I imagine there are other websites, but just the one that I was reading about.
10 years from now, there's going to be like what's up? There's an entire generation of men missing from Louisiana. And it's like, yeah, they all moved.
Yeah. They all went to...
I just want to watch their porn in peace.
just leave them alone.
They're all going to learn what VPN is very quickly.
Seriously.
It says Louisiana law now requires...
If this podcast was sponsored by NordVPN, this would be a fantastic time for it.
Yes. Well, we'll just say that.
No
it
free
is.
ads.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
Although he is going to... We'll allow him to plug his business at the end of this. If he wants to. I don't know if he wants to.
I do not.
Yeah. I am not going to publish this as a real estate agent.
Do not tag me.
But yeah, so they talk about privacy security at Pornhub community being a priority. We thank you for your cooperation. So yeah, you need to check your age, take a photo of your ID.
Oh, God, they get to know what you look like?
Yeah.
They just match it. It's just
What's
the
funny
worst
is that I
thing.
look like a... I don't know how I don't take a picture where I look like a butch lesbian. In my ID
How funny would it be? You submit your ID information, and they're like, based on the ID we received, here are some categories that it looks like you might be into.
And it's just butch lesbian porn. All right, yeah. Let me see if I can find
We
my
think
ID
you'd like
here.
these tagged with romantically shot.
Tentacle anime.
Oh, no. That was going two different directions.
I just had to get my passport renewed, or a new passport, so they had to retake my photo.
Sure.
And I had my... I didn't realize I keep one of my headphones in these Jabras almost all the
Job,
time
bro.
while I'm working. And I forgot it was in there. And in my photo, you can just see this little earpiece, and it looks like I'm in the Secret Service or something. And my face is so serious in the photo. I look like a serial killer.
It is like, it's the worst, though, because they say, like, don't smile, don't do all of this with your photo. Like, say you get pulled over, and then you're handing your ID to this person. A dude, like, that's what the police officer has to look at for you, right? Like, you're not getting away with the ticket at that point.
No.
There's just no
Absolutely
way.
not.
Like, because they see you, and you just, I mean, for me, maybe he's just confused about who I am at that point. I'm just like, what is Peter? I don't buy it.
At least they don't make you present your Pornhub browsing history with that
Yes,
ID.
exactly.
Sorry, officer.
Exactly. Yeah. So here is my license, my registration, and my Pornhub browsing.
Last 5 videos watched.
Oh yeah, exactly. So
I don't know what porn is.
never.
Plausible denial.
You're married. You know exactly what porn is.
That's true.
So, but let's see. A new Girl Scout cookie is out, guys. We'll get to sports eventually.
Yeah,
and
I want to talk about the Girl Scout
and
cookie.
eventually my segues will get better. But you know,
That's not
sometimes
true.
on the fly, you just gotta go with it.
How
There's
many episodes have you guys been doing this?
110,
10?
10, yeah.
So there's still time to work on it.
I'll figure it out. I mean, we're three years into this, and you would think that I've got a good.
By episode 200,
Yeah,
they will
200
be
we'll get
silky.
there. But you know, like they didn't have new flavors for the longest time, and now last year they added a couple of new flavors. But the new one, it looks like a Thin Mint, but it's a raspberry.
I'm reflexively not interested in that.
Raspberry Rally. So it looks like like a Thin Mint,
Trash.
but it is
Trash.
But you know, and that's what's scary about this.
so
Oh my god!
disappointing
Oh my god!
to bite into one.
When I like, for instance, and this is it goes back to raspberry. Surprise raspberry is terrible. If I have a cake and I bite into a cake and the layer like in between the cake is raspberry filling, fuck that cake. I'm not eating that cake.
You gotta know.
You have to
Got
know.
to know.
I mean,
feel like
I would
that-
not eat cake.
Speaking of disclosure, that's a crucial disclosure item. Is
Yes.
like
letting
people know what your filling is.
Consensual raspberry filling.
Are we
Gotta
in
let
agreement
people
on
know.
that,
I
or are
might
you
as
just
well
busting
sue
my
you.
balls at this point? Do you like the raspberry filling?
No, I don't.
Okay, good.
I think there's a tartness to it that sort of like just kind of is enough at odds with what you expect a layer cake to be that someone needs to, throw a flare up.
Yeah.
Let the people know.
It's a disclaimer at that point.
Yeah.
Imagine you're like, and Thin Mints are my favorite Girl Scout cookie. And
Trash.
so fuck you.
Whoa.
Is that if you
Anti-Thin Mint.
if
takes.
you then bite into a Thin Mint looking cookie
and you're met with raspberry.
and it's met with raspberry, like I will fight a Girl Scout. I will fight a Girl Scout.
If that happens.
Yes. Like, I mean, she won't deserve it.
No.
But like,
I mean, I'd fight a Girl Scout regardless. I need to make up for my ping pong loss. Are you kidding me? Take one of them out.
Yes.
True.
Yes. So,
Tag-alongs are the goat, though, right?
Samoas. Samoas are the goat.
I don't like coconut very much, but I do like a Samoa.
Anything that involves coconut can't be the best.
So
You're not a coconut guy?
Well, it's too diverse, or too like there's too many
Weird
people.
Christopher Walken delivery on that one. I don't know how that happened. Like very staccato. Like
I'm sorry.
it's fine. I liked it. Mixing it up.
It's too controversial of a topping, coconut, because people are like they either
the polarizing thing.
Yes,
it's polarizing.
Yes. So it can't be one of the best.
Big opinions on coconut.
But I think it's the best.
See? But
fuck
we
out of
don't.
here!
But we don't.
Get out of here. Your cloves.
I won't get out of here, but I will light up another clove.
You should, because he has on this side. Well, we are an hour into this, and we might as well talk about sports. What do you guys say?
This is a sports podcast?
I know.
Sometimes.
Usually we go about like a half hour on the non-sports, but we just kind of felt like why not keep going on all of that. So, what do we want to talk about first? We want to talk about NFL, or we want to talk about college?
Well, college is pretty quick. Let's get that over with.
College pretty quick. You have your college football playoff champions, back-to-back, Georgia Bulldogs. Never a doubt in that game. 65-7, the largest margin of victory ever. The most points scored in a championship game ever. It is kind of funny that, I know it's hindsight, but you go, 13 points is a lot to give this TCU team, and then, you
should have been 40.
Yeah, they originally went. Georgia put the over by themselves in that game, so it was interesting to me. There's a couple of things about Kirby Smart that I wanted to bring up because the game is less interesting. The fact is that Stetson Bennett will go down as kind of like the greatest Georgia quarterback ever, which is kind of weird. But he's also 25, so you're like, again, you beating up on a grade school or whatever.
He's gonna be a perennial backup.
Yeah,
and I mean that in the kindest way.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
The people who are saying that he's going to be great in the NFL are absolutely...
Who is saying this?
People on Twitter.
There are plenty
dummies.
of people that will say it.
But it's that's just
people.
stupid.
I feel like one of the clearest tiebreakers in NFL draft stuff is just how old is this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is he 19 and already really good?
Right.
Or
just think he's older than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He's older than Justin Herbert, Tua, Justin Fields. He's older than 6 of the quarterbacks in the playoffs.
Burrow.
He's bocce ball age.
Yeah. He's like Paisano Club.
Yeah, he looks like he would like some bocce.
But again, I'm not saying that to take credit away from him. I'm taking credit away from people who think he's going to be this really good Tom Brady-esque kind of guy in the NFL. No, he's going to have a great backup year or career. He's going to play probably 10 years in the NFL as a second string, going to make tens of millions of dollars, and he's going to love every second of it.
Seems like a great holder. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's going to be a great holder.
There was a guy that we were talking about recently who was a perennial backup, and he made $40 million.
Chase Daniel.
Thank
I wasn't
you.
even on it, but it was Chase Daniel.
Chase Daniel.
Eagles legend, Chase Daniel.
And there's not, and he's made a lot of money.
A ton.
And he's never needed the response. He's made over $40 million.
Yeah. The ideal job.
Anytime he comes in, it's God damn, Chase Daniel. That's why they pay you.
Yeah.
It's dude, he comes in, he does what he needs to do.
18 for 26, 225, 2 touchdowns.
And then he comes out.
Pick that wasn't his fault.
They write him another fucking contract.
And he can still go out to dinner. He can still go places, and no one will know.
No one's asking for Chase Daniels.
No,
yeah, they did. They did a video because he's on the Chargers, right?
Yes,
probably.
And they did it. They were doing this video where they had him just dress up as a fan during OTAs and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And he was like, "Oh, Justin Herbert, I'm your biggest fan. Can you sign this for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, bud, I got you."
Case Keenum did that too with the Bills,
yes.
Which, by the way, won't go unnoticed that he's wearing his Bills outfit here.
I've officially made my transition from a regular season Browns fan to a
built different fan
to a Buffalo Bills postseason fan.
And we'll get into the NFL here in a bit.
What did you want to say about Kirby Smart?
I wanted to say that if anyone heard his pregame speech, because, these guys come out and they're so diplomatic and so complimentary and so everything. Well, as it turns out, someone was recording that Kirby Smart pregame between Texas Christian and that
unvarnished look.
Here is Kirby Smart's unfiltered pregame speech ahead of the championship game.
Trust your preparation. No. Your ass is prepared for this shit for fucking 365 days. I think about them fuckers in that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game. Now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Hey, guys, ain't nobody in this room should be cautious. Ain't nobody in this room should be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Box said on Monday? When I sat in that fucking meeting, I wanted to go fucking play right then. Tore your shit up out here. 2 years ago, fucked your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy tells me you fuck these guys up. You go play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with the ball. The shit's easy. Look at the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go.
That is a.
That's how you do it.
That is a little bit of a different tune that you hear from like the movies, but that's what you expect to hear in those situations.
Love it.
Very ass focused.
Very
he's an ass man.
Kirby's a big ass man.
He's an ass man.
He's also a con artist, as one would have it. Is that after the game, I thought it was incredible that there were these people doing these interviews, and this is Nolan Smith, greatest Blazer of all time. Nolan Smith, who did not play. Funny thing about Nolan Smith, Portland Trailblazer, it was his rookie year with Damian Lillard, and Nolan was already in the league at that point. But they came to a Portland State game, and Dame was there. He was just getting the notoriety. I was there actually covering the Portland State game because it was like UP, Portland State, whatever. And so he walks in, and people wanted to get a picture with Damian Lillard, and someone started passing the phone to Nolan Smith to take a picture with them, and I stepped in. I stepped in, and I took that picture so that Nolan Smith didn't have to take that photo. So, but
that's a nice move.
Thank you. Here is Nolan Smith.
Pete's a big optics guy.
I am a huge optics guy of the Georgia Bulldogs talking about their perfect season.
This was a perfect season and a team that was doubted in the beginning of the year. Was this an exclamation mark on such a special year?
That's all I got to say. They thought we was going to go 7-5. We end up perfect. I could talk trash now because I'm done. I'm a dog for life, and I will always be a dog.
Okay, so he says they thought we were going to go 7-5. Well, then there's another one. I don't know this guy's name. This clip is a little bit shorter. Same tune from this guy.
Y'all thought we were going to be 6-6, 5-7.
They thought we were going to be 6-6 and 5-7. Who the fuck thought that you were going to be 6-6 or 5-7 this year?
Georgia.
Who thought that you were going to be the underdog?
Georgia won last year, right?
They won last year.
Back-to-back champions.
You are back-to-back champions. And they said that, like, there's all of this, like, these people down. Yes, you had 13 people go in the draft this last year. Like, that's a thing. But you're also the national champion. You're returning a bunch of guys. And I did want to bring up, how many games do you think Georgia was not favored in this year?
1.
Yeah, I think I'd say 1 as well.
They were favored in every single game this year.
Damn.
The closest that they
it's
were...
very disrespectful by the media.
The closest line of the year was against Ohio State at -4.5. It stretched all the way...
line, actually.
It stretched all the way to 53.5 that they were favored by against Samford. So they were 7-6 against the spread this year, just because of some of these lines being so egregious. They won 33-0 against
that's
Samford.
what they were looking at.
Maybe, yeah. You thought we were going to go 6-6
the predictions
against the spread.
Kirby Smart's like covering the top of the page, and he's like,
"Look at this!
You see what they're saying?"
Yeah. You had him believe that they were 6-6 going into that game. They were only ever not favored by double digits in 2 games this past year, the other one being Tennessee. They were 9.5-point favorites. Every other game they were favored by double digits. So the fact that I don't know where this like 6-6, 5-7 narrative came from, but whatever he was trying to selling worked, because like you got to create some sort of chip. And if he was just like, don't read the papers, but this is what the papers are saying, I'll read the papers. You stay off social media.
Let me do the reading around here.
I'll do the reading around here. But in a way, I was thinking about this. Like, would you rather lose by, like, say you lost like 37-33, or it could have gone either way, or you got roundhouse 65-7?
Oh, I'd rather be in the fight.
Close loss.
Really? You'd rather?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, but if you just go, well, we got our ass handed to you, we lost, versus like, oh man, like we could have, like, you feel like you don't really, like, oh, if it was just that one play, if it was just that one thing that was different
you would
versus
rather,
like, well,
you would rather be in the record books
as if getting your ass handed to
like
you.
that's all. Like this TCU team, they have nothing. No memory will be left of their season or their greatness. They will forever be known and attached to 65-7.
And when you look at the odds coming into next year's championship or to win the next year, obviously Georgia's number 1, Alabama number 2.
They're not going to remember that when they.
Well, TCU's not even in the top in contention. They're off the map.
I would much rather win like the close. I feel like
you'd rather lose a close game.
We underrate like the well fought loss. You know what I mean? Like.
There's honor to it.
Yeah, it's
there
just
is.
like you did your
because
there's a purity to like I gave it my best and I lost to someone else's best. I brought it out of them. It was just a little better. Like, you know, like the both teams played hard
versus
like,
just like we had no business being there.
Well,
and now it'll be hard for someone like my team or another team like me to get back to that again because
and I think it's like it's a ripple effect. For like that personal pride, being like, hey, I left it all out there. There was nothing more I could possibly do.
Couldn't have done more.
You know, my team gave it everything. And then you're going to get more buy-in from the fans. And if you're at a college level, it's like, okay, how does that do for recruiting? We were right there. We were one play away. If we have recruits like you coming in, we can make that one play. So I think that TCU, like you said, not even in the top 10 for in odds to go back next year. Like this was, kind of a once in a lifetime moment, and they're never going to want to talk about it.
Yeah, they'll never want to talk about it. Be like, oh yeah, we got kids.
Great game against Michigan.
Your grandpa telling that story about how you made it. You played football. Growing up and all this stuff, and then they go, oh, so. Like, how far do you go? You're like, well.
Pretty far.
I played in the national championship. That's where you want that
conversation
to end.
Yeah.
No more questions, kids.
Your grandpa, your daddy, is a big loser. He lost a real bad. Because it does take away, to your guys' point, like, it kind of takes a little bit off of how improbable their season was. Because at the end of the day, they're just like, you had no right being there. And like Michigan, had that game where they just like self-inflicted wounds, and had they not had those pick sixes or those like mental errors or whatever, Michigan would have probably been there, right? And so
may have scored 14 points. I don't know.
So may have actually scored 2 touchdowns in this game. So,
and that's the thing. It sucks that it's such a big loss for TCU, but it's like we still had the inevitable ending as Georgia national championships, or champions. I don't think, regardless of who they played in that game, I think they're winning and probably pretty easily. But it also is like so much of a luck thing in the grand scheme of things that it's like, oh, you could have a great football team at, whatever secondary school it could be, like in Oregon or whatever. And it's just like, well, this year there was X amount of kids that were born around my same time. And they all got recruited to the same school coincidentally and built this super team at the exact same time that we built what we thought was a super team. And it's just like with college sports, it's like you can never tell. But it does seem like Georgia is kind of taking that step into that Alabama role where it feels like they're going to be doing this for a little while. But then again, 2 years ago, we thought Alabama could never be taken down. And now Alabama almost seems like a tertiary subject.
Right. I think that, I don't know if you guys saw David Pollack on the broadcast during halftime with Nick Saban next to him saying that, like, this is Georgia's world and we're just living in it. That was incredible. Just like
and
how
Nick
Nick
Saban
Saban had to just look away.
Just gave him this like side eye from hell. And
boy,
how
I would not have the balls to be able to say that.
I don't know about that.
But I was going to say that I do like that there's only going to be one more year of this 4-team format because, possibly next year if you have another TCU, is the committee with all of their, internal biases and seeing everything that happened. Yes, we got good semifinal games. but we didn't get a good championship game. It was the first time we actually got good semifinal games. But now you're saying, do we give the benefit of the doubt to the TCU type of team versus an Alabama team that did lose twice, but they lost by a total of 6 points? But in 2024, you're going to have the 12 team. You're going to have the ability for these types of TCUs to be able to compete up against it, because you can't hold a TCU type of team out of the top 12.
Yeah,
so
and
they'll have their shot.
I think if you have the 12-team playoff this year, TCU's not in that game. I don't think they make it there.
Really? Yeah, because they'd have to.
Yeah,
do
I think that they get that first win maybe against a Michigan or something like that. But once they get up against an Alabama or one of these bigger schools.
I mean, like TCU all year long was surprising people by actually winning games. They were down in the second half and busting out in the second and finally winning those games. Like they had that championship game, the Big 12 championship game that they lost, but they were given the benefit of the doubt. They proved themselves, I guess, to a degree with the Michigan win. But again, we all know what.
And kind of their flaw the whole season was strength of schedule. They're not playing anybody that means anything. And really, that Kansas State team was arguably the best 3-loss team in college football, but they're still a 3-loss team coming into that game. And to lose by them in that fashion that they did, it was an ugly game. But either way, I wish it would have been closer. I really like Max Duggan. I'm a huge Max Duggan guy.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me at all.
I don't know why watching him in that Big 12 championship game was just like, I love this dude.
Yeah.
Like you could tell his whole heart emotion was into it. His receivers were dropping wide open balls left and right. So he just starts, shuffling, rushing, doing whatever he can. He's like crying in the end zone as they're going into overtime. I don't know. It just gives a lot of heart. I love it.
I do think that it will be interesting. We talked about like this chip on the shoulder that, Kirby Smart has instilled on these guys. I'm very curious how he's going to be able to do it with next year's schedule. Because next year, this is the following schedule all the way up and down. They start their season against UT Martin and the Skyhawks.
Toughie.
Yeah.
Tough.
Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, Auburn, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Georgia Tech. It is as laughable of a schedule.
Wow.
So I don't know what the narrative is going to be next year,
what's
Kirby.
What's the odds on Georgia for next year?
Plus 200, I think. I think it's like just immediately, like there's no long odds. I think like plus 200 to go and win it again.
Wow.
It's always nice if you're playing a SEC schedule and you're like, Vanderbilt. All right.
Kentucky.
Let's just
like,
avoid.
No
like
offense
really
to Will Levis, I guess.
They go
He's
Vanderbilt
gone
and Vanderbilt, and then a week off. You got to buy after that.
Oh no!
You need some rest.
Gotta
after
rest
that
up
one.
after Vandy.
You need to rest.
Yeah.
Get
But
some
to avoid like all the big dogs in the SEC, obviously you get that for maybe 2 years in a row every 20 years with the rotation of a schedule. But for Georgia to like really, really take advantage of these weak schedules that they've had and produce these types of teams, it's pretty impressive. Good for them.
Yeah. In the NFL, if you guys are comfortable with moving on from that, we have
sure.
The playoffs are upon us.
I don't
Playoffs.
I don't know if we have to go through like games or anything. I kind of just want to discuss the playoff situation and what we think like going forward, unless there was like any big game moments.
I just wanted to see your guys' reaction or hear you guys' reaction about the Nyheim Hines.
That was cool.
2 touchdown returns after all of the things happening with Damar Hamlin on the opening kickoff, to be able to return that and then just do it again, and to do it 3 years and 3 months after you did it last time was to return. Just the 3 parallels that got Josh Allen all choked up in his post game. So, Buffalo by far did not play their best game. They got bailed out. Not bailed out, but they were given 14 points by those Hines.
Yeah, without those, that would have been a very different
closer game.
And I kind of think
that was an incredible display. It's hard not to get emotional about that moment, and about everything that's happened with the Damar Hamlin situation in the last week and a half or whatnot.
And I did find a little bit of like kind of comedy in this because everyone going into that game, there was a lot of talk around the Damar Hamlin stuff, and everybody was supporting him with the shirts, and I think the NFL did a decent job of showing their support here. But you could kind of feel this tense nature, excuse me. And, like, even the announcers were kind of alluding to it, that it's like, okay, are the Bills going to be able to come out after this pretty emotional experience, not really playing a game last week? Are they going to be able to come out and fire on all cylinders? And then Naheem Hines runs that opening kickoff back, and there was this kind of, like, everybody just gave a big sigh.
Collective sigh.
And
after they were done screaming their heads off.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we're back. Everything's fine. We can play football now.
Can you imagine if, like, they went a quarter or two and it was, like, such a slogfest? Because, Bill Belichick's record against the Bills, pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
Pretty good. And so, like, that guy can bring things down to a screeching halt, especially against, and they had playoff implications on the line. It really could have been that slog it out game. Now you're like, well, a totally different narrative with the Bills. You go, oh, can they handle it? Are they too distracted? Was this too early to come back? But like the Hines thing just like totally shut it down. Yeah. And it was nice. I saw too that that Damar Hamlin, in the ICU, because he was still in serious condition, was watching the game. He set off every alarm bell, like, from his room because of his heart rate and his blood pressure and all of this stuff. And they were like, it was a very normal reaction, obviously, and he was able to handle it. But yeah, they had to come and like turn off all of the codes because he set off every alarm known to man. So.
Oh my
well, I heard that he's heading home, back to Buffalo.
He is back in Buffalo now,
news.
but he is still in the hospital there where he's undergoing tests. So he just went from one hospital to another, but hopes to be able to get back out. So that was a fun game to watch. One game that should not have been very exciting, but was the end of the Texans and Colts game. And I'll tell you what, when you hear about...
I don't think I watched that.
This was incredible, was that the fact that...
4th and 20, right?
It was 4th and 20. The Texans have the number 1 seed on the line. They lose, they get the number 1
number
seed.
1 pick.
The number 1 pick. Excuse me. The number 1 pick. They win, and the Bears had already lost. So the Bears are in line to get the number 1 pick in the NFL draft should the Texans come back and win. So now you have Davis Mills as your quarterback. You have Lovie Smith as your coach. Both are potentially going to get shit canned after this game. Davis, whatever
I'm pretty
happens.
Sure Lovey already got.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll get to
Spoiler
that.
alert.
Spoiler alert. So on 4th and 20, Davis Mills throws it into the end zone, catches it. They get the reception to get within 1. So Lovie Smith goes, fuck this. I'm going for 2 to win this game. I know I'm about to get fired
pad
anyways.
the resume.
I'm going to get fired. So if the thing that I die on at the very end was costing my team the headache of potentially having to trade up or wondering, like, you don't have control of your own destiny at that point. Lovie Smith goes for 2, and they fucking get it. And
good for him.
And so Davis Mills is going to be out of a job. Lovie Smith later fired.
They're selling the team.
Yeah, and I mean,
And the Colts are pick 4 now, right?
I think so at that point. Yeah, so now the Bears number 1, they are going to have to figure out what to do with Justin Fields. Do you try and trade Justin Fields and then pick Bryce Young? Do you shop the number 1?
You shop the number 1.
You shop the number 1 probably.
Wouldn't
right?
shock me if the Colts traded up for it, which would be the sting, because like they're in shouting distance.
Yeah,
now.
but they already. I don't know if they have recovered from the Carson Wentz first round pick. I think they have.
But let's not forget that Houston has 2 and 12, so they're fine.
They're fine.
As far as draft status goes, they're.
But
fine.
I mean, say they wanted Bryce Young and someone can come up.
Do you think he's like a no questions asked number 1?
I think he's probably right up there.
I don't know.
He's really small.
He is.
He's quite small. But I mean,
I think after the whole Kyler Murray
I don't
want
to be a size queen about it, but like it matters.
I mean, okay, so you have a number of other.
Sorry,
you size
matters.
Yeah. What's average? Is that
5.5?
What if? Good answer. what if they go and choose the guy that you want? Like these guys get like really hung up and hell bent on specific.
Which like teams do that.
Yeah.
They like some guy shakes your hand the right way during your dinner, and you're just like, this is the man to lead our franchise. And it's just like
they do all sound like that. Too.
They do. They certainly do.
Especially the Houston guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought that it was interesting that I guess we could talk about this within the context of like coaches and everything. I thought it was so stupid that the Chargers, that Brandon Staley left, even started these guys.
Yeah.
In the final week of the season, because in the early window, everything determined the Chargers' outcome. The Chargers went into their game, and they had a half hour to know about it. It's not as if they like just were spur of the moment this happened. Like there was enough pad to know they didn't need to play a single starter. They were the 5 seed. Brandon Staley proceeds to roll those guys out there through the fourth quarter in an inconsequential game.
I don't understand Brandon Staley sometimes because,
welcome to the show.
I feel like he kind of like, made his bones as like, ooh, I'm an analytics guy or whatever.
Right.
And there's nothing less like analytics and more like dumb football guy than just like, I'm putting my guys out there. Like, I don't want them to get rusty.
Yeah,
like,
and that's what that was his whole thing. It's like, we want to go in playing our best football, but then Bosa gets hurt and Mike Williams is hurt.
Banged his back up or something.
Again, yeah. So now you're going in hampered, and you go, okay, what's the point? You can't be playing your best football if like your impact guys
limping all year.
Exactly, like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both. Like you got to protect those guys. Keenan Allen was playing through like until like 5 minutes to go in the game,
and his hamstring was like splintered for half the year.
Yeah, so it just made absolutely no sense. They were the 5 seed. It didn't matter, and
I'll tell you what.
Played it.
If Brandon Staley doesn't do, I think getting to the playoffs this year was a great step. But if
it saved his job,
it saved his job. If they're not like competing for Super Bowl next year, I think you got to look at other options, because I do like this is detrimental to the future of your team. And not only is that it just like dumb decisions, it pisses the players off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure because. Like, I understand, like, the heart of football, the love of football, like, put me in, coach. But, like, I know at some point these players are smart enough to realize their value long term. Like, there's got to be at some point where they're like, hey, like, why am I still playing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
coach
that
has to protect his players.
If you're the Chargers and you do want to move on from Brandon Staley and you want to go after a guy like Sean Payton, which we've talked about on this podcast before, we're not the only ones who have like rumored this possible connection, because like the Chargers are a team that could potentially be a Sean Payton away from a championship.
Yeah.
The thing is that the Broncos having interest in him as well. But they can't talk. The Broncos cannot talk to Peyton until next week. Until the 17th is the first day, just because of NFL contract stuff and the fact that he's still technically with the Saints, right? So you're almost thinking, God, I hope you guys lose if you're like Kroenke, Stan Kroenke, the owner. No, Kroenke's the Rams owner.
Yeah.
Spanos. Yeah, Spanos. If you're that family, you hope that you lose in the first round to the Jags, which you could very reasonably win that game, because then all of a sudden now you're kicking into gear the stuff with Sean Payton. He could be off the board, right? And if that was your guy.
But I don't think Sean Payton, I just can't imagine that guy like him at his point in his career wants to go to a place like Denver. Like, knowing that there's other options available, I think he would be smart enough to be like, okay, I'll take this conversation, but I'm not going to make any moves or decisions until like the playoffs die down, the Super Bowl's won.
Yeah,
I can.
If Dallas loses this week, he might end up in Dallas.
Yeah, because I think that's been like kind of his.
He used to coach there. He was the offensive coordinator under Parcells, I think.
And the best scenario, I guess, for Sean Payton is you take your time, or you say no to Denver.
Yeah.
So that then Dan Quinn, who was perceivably the next in line to replace Mike McCarthy in Dallas, now is no longer there as your kind of like presumptive next head coach. Dan Quinn goes to Denver, for instance, and then that leaves Sean Payton to swoop in and get that job. So
Chargers roster is in a weird spot too. Like, not to dwell on the Chargers forever, but like, you have Justin Herbert, who's young. You have Austin Eckler, who's like 27, which in running back years is but it's not like he's had a lot of carries.
Yeah, he's more like a receiving running back at this point.
But like Keenan Allen's old. Mike Williams is older.
You really
and
have to
banged
start
up.
thinking about
like
those
so
guys.
you have this like wide receiver core just like cratering around Justin Herbert as he's supposed to be entering his prime. It's just like such a strange, like they essentially just have to like either nail a wide receiver free agent signing, which I don't feel like really happens,
No.
you know,
Or
or
get
a
somebody
trade.
young.
I don't think they have a ton of money. Either.
No, because they signed the Patriots cornerback last year for big money. And
Right,
he was-
Justin Jackson,
yeah,
and then
he was
he's
hurt all year.
been hurt.
Was it Justin or J.C. Jackson? I can never remember.
J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson, yeah.
So, like, I think they essentially just are, like, kind of in this weird spot where they have this, like, increasingly slow, you know, increasingly old offense that's, like, surrounding Justin Herbert. And I guess, like, Rashawn Slater's really good, but Justin Herbert doesn't throw to him.
Yeah.
So they have to trade for a guy, or they have to just nail a first-round pick. It's kind of weird, you know? And, like, he's this big-armed guy, and you don't have any fast players.
Yeah, because Mike Williams was kind of that downfield guy, and I think with his injuries, he's losing that responsibility. And I think you're right. If they, with what they have right now, they maybe have a year, 2 to get something done, and that's stretching it.
Best case scenario, yeah.
Yeah. And they, like, as I mentioned, right now they are over the cap for next year.
Yeah.
So they've got something to figure out as
But
well.
Jags Chargers is fun. Just like a couple of
I love that matchup.
Lanky, long-haired, like really
Yeah.
smooth.
Couple of sunshines out
quarterbacks
there.
for-
Couple of
Couple of
sunshines.
sunshines.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a fun game.
I love Doug Peterson.
Yes.
Eagles fan.
I was just going to
Doug
say.
Peterson, like, I will forever say, like he didn't deserve to be fired by the Eagles.
I
It
agree.
just was kind of one of those things where, like, I don't know. I guess
Bad
everyone
timing.
sort of felt like
Yeah, I
the
mean, they did it with
time is-
Andy Reid.
They did it
right?
with
I
Andy
mean, it's
Reid,
just-
and I think both of those things kind of coincided with like weird quarterback situations that weren't necessarily the coach's fault, especially with Carson Wentz just like deciding he was bad all of a sudden. But Doug Peterson is like a easily like a 75th percentile or above NFL
Yeah,
head coach.
For sure.
I agree.
Like, yeah, I think that they can totally keep on progressing. I mean, they barely got themselves into the playoffs because they tried to, lose their way to that in that game in Week 18. I think that, we see the Seahawks 49ers, a divisional game that is a wild card one. That Seahawks game, when we talk about fun games, that we were talking about, we'll talk about wonky of a finish. That was an incredible game for not only the Seahawks to win in overtime, but then the Lions to have the stones to be able to go into Lambeau and say, you know what, we're out of the playoffs. But you know what? And
Fuck the Packers.
Oh, my God. I love that because,
That's like the perfect Lions win over the past couple
Dan
decades.
Campbell.
Just one where you just
It was for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was in the locker room being like, this is for us. This is for fucking
This is
Detroit.
going into next year.
This is grit. This is who we
Build
are.
on this.
We play till the fucking final whistle.
Yeah, and
Fuck the Packers.
And he
I
said
love
that at the end of the first quarter in the interview, like the gal on the sidelines. Oh, what's her name? I can't remember off the top of my head either way. Molly something or other. She says you're not in the playoffs. Like, how do you stay motivated? It's like it's not at all about us not being in the playoffs anymore. It's about them not being in the playoffs.
Love it.
Like, I mean, that was the
Love the hating.
Yeah.
Big.
And that was a good game.
That's some pure
That
hating.
was a good game.
So
Love that.
you don't have. So I think the 40. I imagine the 49ers would take care of business.
So
Brock
will you-
Purdy's never been in this situation
There's some weird
before.
matchups.
Yeah,
You
so
know
will
what I
you
mean?
give me the
Like,
schedule from
Yeah.
let's start with Saturday.
Saturday is starts off with Seahawks 49ers. Then we go into.
I have no idea. Like, the Niners should win handily, but also, like, I feel like Pete Carroll, like, weird stuff happens
Yeah.
in Pete Carroll playoff games. You know, where he
You've
just
got Brock Purdy. Can you try and exploit that? But it's a home game for the 49ers. He just
casts a weird cloud over the stadium, and then things happen. Like, oh, that running, like Christian McCaffrey hasn't fumbled in like 300 touches, and he has 3 this game. It's just like that's it. Just happens.
Where is it?
It's in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
they should win.
It's the 2-7 is what it is.
The defense is so good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think the elite nature of the 49ers defense outweighs anything that they have.
Carroll's chicanery.
Yeah, and it outweighs the weakness that Brock Purdy might have, because the Shanahan offense is really just turn around, hand off, trust the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Hand it off, play action, deep shot over the middle.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to throw the ball maybe 12 times.
Yeah,
he won't need attempt 12 times.
He won't need to be the guy who wills them to victory.
Yeah, not against the Seahawks. They should be able to.
They should be able to do it.
I think maybe the next round that might become an issue with Brock Purdy, but we're not there yet.
You have your second game of the night, the second and final game on Saturday, which is Chargers-Jaguars.
I think that'll be fun.
I think that's the game.
That's going to be fun.
Because that's like neither team has like it's like a recent playoff baggage, you know, like you don't really know like what they look like.
They're
in the
both
postseason.
excited as fuck.
Yeah, they're happy to be
pumped.
there. Like if they were playing like a veteran team, you would be like that team, like the Chargers or the Jaguars are probably going to lose.
Yeah,
I could
because they're playing each other.
Make a case for that game being very close and either team winning. I can make a game for the Jags blowing out the Chargers, and I can make a case for the Chargers blowing out the Jaguars.
Yep, I think
mean,
so.
there's
Well, speaking of whose line is it anyway, what's the line of that game?
One.
That's a great question.
Chargers, Jags
Thank you.
line. We have Los Angeles a -120 to Jacksonville at +100. It is a -1 for the Chargers entering that game. A road favorite for the Chargers.
Wow.
So basically,
And you know Duval's going to be rocking.
they sure will. And they'll be drunk.
That sounds right.
And then let's
Saturday
see.
night.
You have Dolphins-Bills to start out Sunday. Dolphins have no idea what
Still
they're doing
enough
at
Tua's gonna
quarterback.
play,
at this.
right?
Yeah, I hope he doesn't, just for the sake, not just for his health at this point. He's had like 3 terrible concussions this year. Like,
No, he hurt his back.
Right, exactly.
Oh my
Fuck
God.
that. Then you
Couldn't
have
believe that.
Giants-Vikings. I could see the Giants going and
That's
winning
a
that
weird.
game.
That's a weird
It's
game.
a weird game.
That is a weird
Like
game.
the Vikings have been so like actively mediocre, and then they just keep winning them.
I mean, when they don't win every game by 1 possession, they're losing every game by 2 scores. I mean, that's just how it goes.
I mean, Justin Jefferson might be the best receiver in the league. Kirk Cousins is so... I don't understand
Such a dad.
Kirk Cousins at all.
Yeah. Well, and that's really what it comes down to is what Kirk Cousins are we going to get?
Yeah.
I think that's really the short and fast of this game.
Doesn't
is
do
it
well
going to
in
be
prime
gold
time.
chains on
That's
the
true, but they're
on
at
the
1:30
PJ?
or 4:30 Eastern. So
There's no other games on, though. So what
I
what
suppose it
applies
is a standalone.
Exactly.
Is it 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins when there's like 8 other games happening and it just cuts to Kirk Cousins like, oh, it throws another dart to it's Scott Hansen like excited?
Yeah.
Or is it just like, oh, Kirk Cousins on Monday Night
Sure.
Football just
Yeah,
like pooping
I
his
get that.
pants
I
out
get
there?
what you're saying.
Like-
I think the other thing is I saw somebody tweet this earlier today, but Saquon Barkley has kind of quietly had an incredible season.
He looks great.
Which
incredible
he said he would
season
at the very beginning.
And his thing has always been his health.
Should've
He's
drafted him
had
more fantasy leagues.
Yeah.
And his thing has always been his health. He's been pretty healthy throughout the entire season. A few bumps and bruises, but nothing serious. And I don't know. I feel
So
like this
explosive.
Giants team kind of has this this vigor that people are not necessarily giving him enough credit about. I think the city loves this team. They love Dabble. I think they're really kind of gathering around. So I agree. I would not be surprised to see the Giants win this
Vikings
game.
defense is like bad.
Yeah.
Like bottom 5 in the league bad, if memory serves.
But I'll tell you something. I can almost guarantee this is going to be a 1-score game. Just knowing both these teams
Seems
and how they handle football, it's going to be a 1-score game.
I'm curious to see
Bet the under.
if like
Really?
Yeah.
Minnesota a 3-point favorite, so just a classic home favorite at 3 points.
kind of disrespectful, but but I get it. Daniel Jones is fast, which is weird.
Faster than you think.
Yeah. He's a running quarterback almost.
He is.
Yeah.
He is a running quarterback. And like, I wonder if that's just going to be something that like, whether they like cook up some weird,
they're gonna have
packages in terms
to.
of like, getting that in the run game and really breaking that defense open.
Get a little
or
I was just gonna say, I bet you we see at least 2 like flea flicker, reverse pass type.
Fun,
some
from the
running back
Giants.
or wide receivers throwing a ball.
Yeah,
Saquon
absolutely.
Barkley can
sling
he can
it?
receive downfield. Like, remember the OBJ like had a couple like long touchdown balls to him when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
I don't know
we
if
can make
I
it
don't
happen.
know if Kenny Galladay's warming up the old pitching arm or whatever, but
He can do it. He can chuck the rock. But that's going to be it's a weird matchup, but I think that's also going to be a fun game to watch.
The Bengals and Ravens will conclude the triple header on Sunday.
it's a real bummer if Lamar doesn't play.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I think
if he
again
plays
that's
at
really
this
what
point.
it comes down to.
Don't bet on it yet if you're gonna, but
I have a future on the Ravens that I placed in like April of this year. To win the Super
really
Bowl,
weird
so
situation for Lamar because he
come
hasn't,
on, Lamar.
Like, I mean, he hasn't like practiced in a month, let alone played in a month.
I
He's
don't
just
think
not even
he's-
practicing.
I don't think he's coming.
He's
back.
doing individual
and
warm-ups. But
if it's Tyler Huntley, he's arguably one of the most talented backup quarterbacks in the league.
He's perfect for the Ravens scheme,
and he fits the Lamar Jackson offense perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Yeah, that's why it's so. I mean, I think that I was hearing this discussion earlier. It's like, you take Huntley to any other team, he's not like this
incredible.
I mean, but he is.
But that's also kind of why Anthony Brown works in that offense too.
Yeah,
as a third
well,
string.
And works is arguable.
Well, like serviceable.
Serviceable, yeah.
Serviceable.
Why he's on the roster.
But I think no matter what, the Bengals win this game because it does not look like Lamar Jackson's going to play. Based on your point, he hasn't practiced. He hasn't done anything. I doubt that they're going to try to push it. But if it's Tyler Huntley, I think the Bengals win, but at least it's close. If it's Anthony Brown, Bengals just sign him into the next round.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that game right now, Bengals.
I'm guessing.
Ravens
I'm guessing
line.
if it's a without Lamar line, it's 6.5.
6.5,
I was
exactly on the
thinking,
nose.
I was gonna do 7.5.
Yeah, 6.5.
There we
on the
go.
Would have lost at The Price is Right.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, you would have been over at that point.
Yeah.
And would have lost.
Can't do that.
Final playoff game, which there is a Monday night wildcard game, was Cowboys-Bucks.
Weird game.
Yeah, because Tom Brady's in the playoffs. You just
Yeah.
don't mess with that. However, you have the Cowboys as a road favorite,
That
2.5
makes sense. The Bucks have been
points.
like bad all year, but there's also that thing where it's just like it's Tom
But
Brady
all of a
and
sudden
Mike
good.
Evans and
Like-
Chris Godwin. And
They've
you know,
won what? 4 straight? 3 straight?
I don't know.
I mean,
All I know is I saw him throw that pass to Mike Evans last week, that like 70-yard touchdown pass, and I was like, he's back.
He's still got it.
I mean,
It's over.
I mean,
he's gonna win the Super Bowl.
They fucked around this year, went 8-9 or 9-8, and still won the division. You know,
The
like
bad,
I mean,
bad
you
division.
just
It's bad division.
Bad
you just
division.
messed around and still won, not only made the playoffs, but won your division and have a home game. So I think that's pretty funny as well.
I think
Well-
the Cowboys are like they're good. Sometimes they do weird stuff.
Yeah,
I have
Can't figure it out.
I personally have no faith in the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I am going to be putting a
just-
large bet on the Bucks to win this game. I think they'll probably lose their next game, but in my mind, there's no way that Tom Brady loses this game to the Cowboys.
The Cowboys,
He's never lost to the Cowboys.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the Cowboys had the opportunity to get the 2 seed, and all they had to do was beat the Commanders, who were already out of the playoffs, right? So, I mean, yes, it was a home game for the Commanders, and yes, they could play spoiler, and they did, but it wasn't like the Cowboys, like, they just were bad.
They were really bad.
They were just bad. And
but sometimes they do stuff like score 5 touchdowns in a quarter, like they did against
right,
the
they
Colts.
can put up 50 points
and it's
on you.
just like what's
I don't
what's
know
going on here.
I will admit I'm a little biased. I don't like the Cowboys at all.
Oh, I don't like them either.
But I don't know.
I'm an Eagles fan.
Is that
Yeah,
true?
I
But I've
True,
also
very true.
seen Dak Prescott throw for a lot of yards against the
It's
Eagles.
true.
And it's just like I think he's good. But sometimes he does weird,
Yeah, we'll see
silly
if they can,
stuff.
if they can get
I
up
think
on that.
that the Bucks are going to put him in a position late in this game where he's probably going to do some weird, silly stuff.
He's thrown a lot of picks this year.
Yeah.
He's on a real heater.
We have just a couple minutes left because we're just running out of recording at this point.
Huh.
We will ask our resident Eagles fan.
Yes.
Do you feel confident in your Eagles to take it all the way?
Yeah, give us your Super Bowl matchup.
I mean, it's really boring to say Eagles-Chiefs because those are both the 1 seeds. It's so chalky.
And the 1 seed hasn't won in a number of years.
Yeah. But I really I feel like the Chiefs just keep eking it out against the Bills. I don't know why. They just do.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals roster just feels worse than those other two. So I think for the Chiefs not to make it to the Super Bowl, there's going to have to be, and again, as a longtime Eagles fan, I've seen these games, just like a really bad Andy Reid game where you're just like, what's he do? Like, doesn't he know he has to call like he has timeouts left? He's got to call and it just keeps happening.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and it's just like the opening script was bad and they just like kind of lose the running game.
Yeah.
And like not that like putting it on Mahomes' shoulders is the worst thing, but like if they lose, like that's kind of what's going to happen. But I think it's going to be the Chiefs. Jalen Hurts has a shoulder boo-boo. I don't like that.
But he still has another week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So when they play their next game, it'll been more than a month since he hurt it. I would like to think it will be pretty close. My understanding it was like a grade 2 sprain.
Right.
And typically that
Sore, but
timeline is like
manageable
4 to
at that
6
point.
weeks to full recovery. Their roster's so good. And I feel like
Lane Johnson's out though, right?
That's the big one.
That is huge.
Because he's the best right tackle in the league. Like,
He
I don't think
is
there's a question.
He is a mountain of a man.
It's just a nimble mountain.
Yes.
So he has like a torn like core muscle that he's just gonna rehab and play through. I don't know what he's gonna look like. He's supposed to play in the divisional round. That would be pretty big. That being said,
huge.
The rest of that offensive line is so good, and their offensive line coach is so good. It's just sort of like I feel like a couple things have to break wrong for them not to come out of the NFC.
Yeah.
I think the two teams that scare me the most for them are the Cowboys, both because they're so explosive and because of divisional familiarity, and the Niners because that defense is so good that I feel like they can really stick a wrench in your
and the
plan
ability
A and
to
B.
like play in the playoffs and like the way that they did stuff last year as well. I understand that was kind of a little bit different personnel, but like you're familiar with that. I think the 49ers are kind of this parody like of a team where they've had that kind of injury adversity as well. They've got this like Mr. Irrelevant as your quarterback, but then you also have everything else around you.
Yeah. But we've seen that Shanahan offense just kind of like grind to a halt sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think
very
it's safe
true.
to say that like Jimmy Garoppolo is probably better than Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And they did not have a good game against the Rams in the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah, it really seems like when you're playing that Shanahan offense and that Niner defense, it's a battle of will and like who can really handle this just like beating of heads longer.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time the Niners can do it, but there's definitely enough teams in the NFC that can stop that. But I agree. I think that I would say those are my top 3 teams in the NFC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I kind of take that back. I don't know if I'd put the Cowboys.
The Cowboys,
especially if you're
You can
betting
have
against
just
them.
Yeah, I was going to say the top 2 for sure. I definitely think it's going to be the Eagles or the 49ers. I don't think the Vikings are going to be able to make it through. I don't think. Yeah, I just think it's really the Eagles and the 49ers, and I think that we're in the NFL. You're going to have to depend on your quarterback at some point, and Brock Purdy is not going to be able to fit the bill.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be able to do it when it comes down to crunch time and you're down 10 and you need to score, those 10 points in 4 minutes real quick. I don't think that's going to be able to happen.
Yeah.
So I think the Eagles are going to be in the NFC. In the AFC, I think the big 3 is pretty much universal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. I agree with you. I don't think the Bengals has the roster to make it happen. They don't have
the protection.
Yeah, they don't have the protection. They just lost a guy,
Lyle Collins, tore his ACL.
Exactly, who was huge on their offensive line. Joe Burrow, I would say, is probably one of the most mentally dominant quarterbacks we have in this playoffs. He is so clutch. He is so unfazed, but I just don't think the protection's going to be there. Their defense doesn't have a killer like they did in that Super Bowl run. I forget his name, that defensive lineman, the white guy.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was just an absolute killer, who would fuck shit up in the middle. They don't have that, really. So I think that's kind of a fault there. I really think it comes down to the Chiefs and the Bills, and obviously I'm biased, so I want Bills, Eagles. Also, for the fans, that would be the most incredible.
Eagles fans and Bills fans would be hilarious.
In Arizona, in good weather, all these cold weather, gritty ass fans in Arizona who are just we don't even have to wear a jacket. They're coming out in shorts and tank tops. They're drunk as fuck. There would be so many fights.
They're not even going to wear jerseys. You're only going to be able to tell by the tattoos.
Exactly. Exactly.
Rob Gronkowski's already pumping up his Super Bowl party. Oh boy.
So
that's going to be.
Yeah.
I think for my own personal
I
want to see that.
Eagles Bills would be incredible.
It would be amazing.
And those two teams are some of my favorites. That Eagles game I went to in October was one of the greatest live sports experiences I've ever had in my life. It was unbelievable. So I mean that's very special to me. So those two teams playing in the Super Bowl would just be heaven.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Totally.
I think the one seeds also, I get the sense that you're trying to wrap it up, but if my understanding of the seeding is the most likely semifinal matchup is Bills-Bengals and then Chiefs versus some dummy.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles, if everything goes chalk, I think they would play the Bucs. I think the most likely upset is the Cowboys beating the Bucs. But if the Seahawks or the Giants win, the Eagles get to play Seahawks or Giants in the first round, and then whoever's left over in the second round, that would be a cushy first round matchup or a really divisional round matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Alex, this has been fun. Are you ready to get fun? You ready to get punished? Miguel's not here, and he lost last week, so it's time to punish you.
You didn't tell me that.
We needed a stand-in.
You didn't tell me that.
No.
Yeah, I think we've got
some hot sauce.
It's
for you.
Pig blood mixed with
hot sauce,
balut.
One of these days, we will actually punish someone. So I can't do that.
We're gonna
you
let you off
yet,
this time, Alex.
Really
I
nice,
appreciate
guys.
you